Hi, I'm your host, Erica Polsinelli, and welcome to Evolve by Erica, the podcast, where we talk all things spirituality, ascension, health, wellness, and beyond. I'm so excited that you are here. Come on in. Hello, guys. I'm so excited for this episode with Mona Vand. I am so beyond to have her on the podcast. She is such a light. And of course, we talk so much about Joe Dispenza. She's been on his retreats as well. And we go deep into spirituality, energy, social media, seeing vibrations. I mean, all the things. So come join us, enjoy the show, and thank you for being here. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule for being here. I tell you this all the time, but I want everyone to hear it in my community. You are just like such a bright, pure light. And I mean that with like every cell of my being. The energy you give off is just pure is the best way I could describe it. And I'm so grateful to know you and to connect with you over like so many things that we love.
Oh, thank you.
I thank you for being here.
It's first of all, like, I'm happy to be here. It's funny, I've actually told my team, like, say no to all podcasts until like maybe fall, but I want, like, you, I feel like you're close to my heart. You know, we've done sessions together. I know you personally, and it's funny, people do tell me that a lot, like, oh, you're so pure, and I don't really understand it because you can't really see yourself that way, but it must be true because I do hear it.
It is so true, and it's felt by anyone that has met you in person and of course through your social. But when you meet people in real life, it's just you experience the multidimensionality of someone, and it's felt,
100%.
It's seen. And thank you for being here, and I'm honored that I'm
on the podcast. I felt that way with you too. I was like, once we met, I think it was at Melissa's brunch.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I feel such a warmth now. You know, like, it's hard. Even we were doing Skype sessions, and it's just never the same.
It's never the same. And there at the brunch, I saw that orb over you, remember?
Yes.
And I just saw it again as I said that, like this sparkle of energy over you. And I just saw it again as I said that.
Can I just tell you something? We were just talking about Joe Dispenza, and I was like saying how it was good for me because I was kind of like I wasn't sure if I believed in all of this work. And then I went and I saw it with my own eyes, but my natural instinct is to doubt, right? Mm-hmm. And when you tell me that, it's so funny. My first instinct is like, is that really real? But yet I know all this work is real, but I don't know why as humans we want to be like, no, that's not real. That can't be real.
So yeah, that is what I got the most out of the retreat. Like, I went there and got the message of like, you have so many gifts. You do see things that are in other dimensions and other realms, and it's normal here, and it's accepted here, and it's science here.
Yeah.
And that's like, of course, experience and having experience with experiencing different things or seeing different things, that gives you the confidence to be like, no, I'm definitely seeing something. I'm not making that up.
Right.
But then when you're in an environment where all people believe in that, and it's so matter of fact and science-based, I think that's what I really walked away with from my experience with him, that like, this is all real. We only perceive 1% of reality.
Yes, that was my favorite. Like, that stuck with me forever.
And of course, we're going to see other things as we connect to higher realms and higher frequencies. So it just makes sense.
And I feel like ever since the week long, we were talking about reactions people have. Like, let's say, even when I was there, like, let's say somebody would scream or make a weird noise, and I was like, are they faking it? I don't know why you just assume. But as you go deeper into the work, like, things keep opening up, and then you might have those reactions. Like, just because you're not having them right now, they might come.
And just because you never experienced something doesn't mean someone else isn't actually having that experience or has that gift or whatever it is.
Exactly.
And those people, and he talks about the 4-minute mile a lot, those people who are experiencing something tells us it's actually possible. So instead of like downgrading whatever their experience it is, it's like, wow, how awesome is it for you that you do experience that? And I hope to open up to that.
Yeah.
But it's true. It was very funny on the retreat. He was like, I'm going to give you guys something to talk about over lunch today. And he like called up these 7 people to show us how they meditate. And I looked at them and I was like, all right, this is a little much. Like, their bodies are convulsing.
Like, convulsing.
And
I was just shocked. I was like, oh.
I was shocked as well. And I'm like, is that real? Like, I know the Kundalini energy is so powerful. And I know that, like, if you Google it, it's like, oh, it's dangerous because of these wild outcomes some people have. But yeah, when I first saw that too, I was like, really? But then as you go deep, you realize you experience things that maybe others do not.
even like you seeing a sparkle above my head, like when did you first start seeing those things? Was it like, have you always had that, or was it when you got into this work?
No, I did not always have that. And if I did, I believe that everything is awareness. And the more we peel back the layers and elevate our frequency, the more awareness we have. So maybe they were there. I would have never noticed them or even thought they were something until I started to experience them more frequently, more consistently around specific people. It doesn't just happen all the time. And it was definitely like post spiritual awakening that I started to recognize them. And I would say in the last probably 5 years, I see them more.
And like, do you see different colors above different people's heads?
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
Yeah. Sometimes there's purple. With you, it's always like clear, like not clear, like a white, silvery, clear type. Like there's definitely a color to it. It's not just transparent, but it's like a sparkle.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Well, we always want to know what.
Yeah, I've got to know what that means.
Always want to know. I see it as energy. So it could be an energy that you're giving off, an energy that's with you. Who, like, I don't really know what it means.
Right? Is there research behind like the colors or like clear versus blue? I don't know.
Well, I tend to think like white light is very good, clear energy.
That's true.
And that's what I feel from it.
That's true.
Purple, I think, is very like metaphysical as well. Blue, I associate with intuition and third eye. And then sometimes like darker things I'll see as well. And I'm always like, what's that? But it's never anything that's scary, or it could just be a frequency that came
like
through.
Maybe a negative energy,
a negative mood or feeling or whatever it may be. And you know what's really cool? Actually, I've seen this for a while, but it really came through at the Joe Dispenza retreat when we did the walking meditation outside.
Yeah,
I
love
saw another sparkle right here. It's always on your left side.
Wait, just right now?
Yeah, another one.
Oh my god, you guys, this is so great. Oh my god,
we have to like research what that means on your left side. It's like boom.
I'm the most inquisitive. I'm like, I gotta know.
We're gonna get to the bottom of it. But when I was at the retreat, I have this thing where I see energy moving, and it looks like just light, and they're all moving in like this circular motion. Have you ever experienced that?
Never. I've never seen it.
Outside.
No.
Outside, I see it mostly.
Like around people or just like in the air?
No, it's like I'm looking at the sky, but I could tune into like almost like a screen over it. And it's just like these balls of more yellow light, I would say.
And you were seeing it during the walking?
After the walking meditation.
Because everyone was
outside. And I loved those. The energy was amazing.
I loved those. Yeah. I want to do them in the city, but I'm like, to stop and close your eyes in the middle of the city is just really hard.
Unless you're in the park.
I did it. I honestly, after the week long, I tried doing it in the park, and I was like, I'd wear sunglasses and a mask so that I'm like, okay, maybe someone just thinks I'm on my phone because you don't want to look like a weirdo.
Staring at the tree.
That's exactly what I looked like. I think he said he made t-shirts on the back. It was like, don't be concerned, I'm doing a meditation.
So smart.
Right?
That's really smart. And he also showed us, I don't know if they were there when you went to the retreat, but he showed us TikToks of people being like, what kind of cult is this?
Yes,
and like all these people walking.
We saw those.
Hysterical. So funny. And at the retreat, that's kind of what you feel like in a way. Like if there was someone just like as a fly on the wall from the outside in our normal lives who we hang out with, my husband being one of these people, they'd be like, what is going on here? Yep. But you're in this cocoon of like, no, this is normal, this is science, this is truth, and that's it.
And I think the part that very much makes it not a cult or anything, I don't know, like dangerous, I feel like people think it's weird, is like there's no person you're following. It's like you're just connecting to yourself.
Yes.
Which I like, because in religion it's always like, here's the one leader, or here's the one, and Joe says that. He's like, don't make this about me. This has to be about yourself, which I really like.
A lot of it for me is about Joe, though. I will admit. I love Joe.
We love Joe. I know.
So I'm going to tell you when I met him.
Yes.
This was crazy because did you do the electrical body meditation?
I did all of them. Yeah. Oh my God. Wait, can I tell you that when I did that one, I think I was barefoot when I was doing it because we were in Florida.
Okay.
And my legs just started shaking. Like you do the one laying on the floor, right?
Laying on the
then
floor
there was
first,
also
then
a walk.
walking.
Yes, the walking one. It was wild. Yeah.
So during that one, I had like the deepest relaxations while I was there, floated to other dimensions, saw people. Like,
oh, wow. I
was
didn't
like,
have any of that. That's cool.
Gasping back to life, like wild stuff. But for the electrical body, I was in the front row that day, so I was very close to him, and I could not relax after it. I was moving, I was stretching. I looked like the worst meditation student, and I was freaking out. I'm like, Joe's going to see me. Joe's going to see me.
During the meditation?
Yes. Like during the part where we're supposed to relax.
Oh, the lay down.
Yes.
Right.
So I took my blindfolds off. Sure enough, he's standing right to the left of me looking at me.
What'd
I'm
he
like,
say?
I'm the worst student. He didn't say anything, but that's the day I got to meet him. And I went up to him. I got like, I feel like the chance of a lifetime because he has very amazing boundaries and he's always off the stage.
He really has good boundaries.
Amazing boundaries.
Yeah.
Like unbelievable.
Yep.
And I told him, I'm like, I could not relax. I have so much electricity going through my body right now. And he's like, I just want you to know you might go unconscious today.
Oh, wow.
It's like, and I didn't even skip a beat.
Was he
I
like,
okay.
was he like,
And then-
don't be scared?
Kind of. He was like, yeah, you could go unconscious.
You're
from
like
that.
starstruck, so you can't even really
Couldn't even
respond.
process. I'm like, if I go unconscious, I'm here with you. It's all good. Like, it's fine. But it was so crazy. I didn't, luckily, I guess. But I was surrendered, down for the ride.
Wow.
You felt safe there, right? To just go deep. And,
Yeah, I felt really safe
Yeah.
there. And like, I got to ask him questions where I was like, is this? And he's like, oh, I've fallen off the bed before. I've like, and I think it made me feel more normalized because the difference is my body was moving a lot in meditations before. I even told you about it.
Yes.
When we first started working together, I was like, I don't know what's going on. And then when I went there and saw everyone on stage, I didn't doubt it for a minute. I was like, oh, phew. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just me and I'm not that intense.
I found my people.
Yeah. So it was a different experience. But mine was more of like something opened up inside me. And maybe if I went back, I would just keep going deeper and I would be able to leave my body or do all of these cool, like mystical things.
Is that what you practice each morning now?
I was the last 2 months, last month, I would say, I've just been experimenting with like other guided meditations. But I actually just did it again this morning to come back to it. I kind of like, I don't want to be stuck on one thing. And I think I was so reliant on them. But I will say that the way his meditations opened me up, I feel like now, no matter what guided meditation I do, I'm just like there. Like even when we closed our eyes, I was like, I'm like in hypnosis at this point. So it's very cool. I don't need it, right? Now I have the freedom as a human to be like, what do I want to do this morning?
Yes.
But I do
that.
I love his the most for the most part.
I feel that way all the time. I say this about my practice of Kundalini. Like that had to be my gateway for me to be able to receive a guided meditation, a sound healing, Joe's meditation.
Yes.
Like as a beginner, I don't think I could have ever just been like Joe Dispenza's meditation.
No.
And Kundalini is known to be like a pretty advanced, intense meditation too, but I just needed that intensity to move out like all that matter and density.
That's what opened me up.
Open up.
Yeah.
And be able to receive it. And now with Joe, like even the first few days, I was kind of like, I just want to tune in with Om Namo Gurdev Namo, do my breath work, and then I'll sit in Joe's meditation. And I was like secretly tuning in because that
he's always like, don't do your own thing.
He
says
that. I was just like, I gotta take advantage of this.
So that really gets you there.
You felt it when we tuned in, right?
Yeah, but I always wonder if it's that or me just closing my eyes with
And
someone else's energy. Like I think I could get there too.
Yeah, it just brings me there. But then by day 3, I was like, okay, I could just dip into Joe and like really feel it.
Yeah. Again, I went into his, even though I loved him, I didn't love his meditations. I was kind of pushing it until the week long.
His meditations.
Yeah.
Same.
I was like, oh, now I get this.
Yes, same. And did you guys do the pineal gland meditation with the
the like 4-hour? What time did you guys go? Oh, with the kaleidoscope?
Yes, kaleidoscope.
Yes.
That was my favorite one. My body was vibrating for 4 hours after.
Oh my God.
It was out of control.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you do the 4 a.m. one till 8 a.m.?
Mm-hmm.
I sent my dad
crazy.
to the week long.
Really?
Yeah,
He's
like
so cute.
I know,
I love
isn't he
when you
so
put him
cute?
up on your Instagram. Oh my gosh, I love.
He's so cute. I sent him because he loves all of this stuff too. And he said they did it till like 10 a.m. I guess Joe was just feeling it and no one even noticed. I'm like, damn, we went till 8 a.m. Like,
I think we went a little after 8. It was approximately 5 hours.
Yeah. Ours was like 4.5 or something.
That was hard for me.
Was
that
it?
Morning. Yeah. Because it was like you're sitting up, you're laying down, then you're sitting back up, you're laying down. And I think stuff was moving through. Like I had to clear a lot that day. Frustration came up. That was a hard one. And it was really long. Afterwards, I was like, of course, it was 5 hours.
Right.
Something's bound to come up.
Of course. Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. So you're finding your way, like your own guided meditations.
I'm
and all
like
different
doing,
kinds.
I haven't gotten to a point now where I'm like do I just close my eyes in silence? Because I've gotten really accustomed to music.
Yeah.
And then I think I get myself to like no, you should be able to do it on your own. But I'm like, is there anything wrong with music? I don't know. You know, I feel like when you think of the true definition of meditation, what is it? Because there's so many forms. I don't really know.
So many.
There's so many. Like, I love doing breath work with you. But if I were to just sit and do breath work on my own, I don't know that it would take me to the same place. Mm-hmm. So maybe right now in this phase of my life, I'm just more in a guided state. But I always want to share with people, like, what's the Calm app or whatever, Calm. It's just not like that kind of guided, never got me there. Like there's specific, like Joe's really get you to a deeper place.
Totally.
Just closing my eyes for 10 minutes while someone talks, like, is not even nearly the same.
Right.
You know?
Right. And I either need like the breath work, the mantra. Mm-hmm. You haven't chanted the Aquarian mantras yet, right? That's something I wanted to do with you.
We wanted to do chanting and we didn't get to it.
Yeah. Well, yes, I can't wait to. I love that. But I recently listened to a podcast on the power of mantra. I'm going to send it to you because for whatever reason you're meeting, like if you feel like you're meeting resistance with having music or like judging your
that I want music.
I wouldn't judge it.
Really?
Yeah. It's so powerful.
Okay. Yay.
I mean, silence is so powerful too, but mantra is so powerful.
Wow.
It's so powerful.
You know, I also like, it's such a weird habit of mine where I almost feel like if it's not painful or if it's not like hard, that it's not right.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost like I've got to push myself and like study and like, why can't it just be this like beautiful experience? Like I'm not doing it right.
It reminds me of Melissa with workouts because I had to change my brain so much and be like, actually, this could benefit me.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to feel like I'm torturing myself. It doesn't have to feel so hard. Although I think some of us requires like different levels of intensity for our energy levels, but she helped to rewire me in that way, like according to workouts. And it's the same for meditation. Like it's all about like, it doesn't have to be so hard. It's allowed to feel good.
Agree. It's supposed to feel good.
It's supposed to.
Right.
So true. Oh, I'm excited for mantras together.
Yeah.
So I would love for you to like give a little introduction of yourself where your journey brought you to this day.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up with a Persian family, divorced parents, and I went to pharmacy school, very much part of like our culture, like, you know, doctor, lawyer, engineer. I didn't really know what I wanted to be at that point, but I liked studying medicine and health and pharmacy. Then when I graduated, my dad lived in LA. I moved to LA and I hated working as a pharmacist, like horrible. And I really liked health and wellness. You know, I had learned all about it. I had just really immersed myself in the culture. I loved working out, eating healthy, and that was a whole evolution in terms of diet and everything. But I started searching for something else, and I think quickly realized that I was more creative than I gave myself credit for, that I wanted to work towards goals. I didn't want to just go punch in and punch out. That I used to think like, oh, retail pharmacy is going to make me the most money out of all pharmacy jobs, so let's do it. And I was like, oh, I really want to take a pay cut to actually be happy during the day. So a lot of realizations there. And then over the years, bounced from job to job, thinking that maybe a different job setting would make me happy, but always had a big interest in like media and TV and creativity. So my initial goal was to get into hosting and be like the expert that goes on different shows. So I took hosting classes and I learned how to talk on camera. And during that time, social media was just kind of on the rise. So it ended up just naturally shifting towards that. And Snapchat was kind of the first platform that really taught me how to talk on camera, because you're just like looking at yourself and talking, and, you know, and it's like, and if you would have seen my videos before that, there was like a glazed look over my eyes, which there's some people that, let's say, don't do this for a living and make videos, and I see it where they're just not connected. And I'm like, oh my God, I know that feeling, because when you don't know how to like connect to who's behind the camera, you kind of look like you're just looking into space, right? Yeah. So Snapchat really helped me with that. And then my career kind of pivoted towards social media. But even my health journey, it started as, eating diet food and really low calorie, that's healthy. And then it pivoted into like
frozen yogurt. Do you remember that craze?
Oh my God, Pinkberry. Yes. Yeah. 25 calorie bread, like anything diet I thought was healthy.
Yeah.
Then I went vegan, and then plant-based can be beautiful and amazing, but I wasn't doing it in the right way. I was just eating a lot of like fake meat and processed food. And then it just ended up shifting into a really clean diet and like what are these preservatives and gums and flavorings that are in like all this package, you know, and I've always loved fresh food, but there was a lot of that was like my regular. And it's just kind of, I think, every day evolving more and more. And I think when you evolve into like wellness and healthy eating and how it affects your body, it's a natural transition into like your mental health.
Totally.
And what you, now I just know that like everything I'm surrounded by, everything I see, everything I think, everything I put in or on my body affects my health. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the place I've gotten to now.
And I love how you share. I truly look at you as an expert. You have so much knowledge.
Thank you.
On so much. You do your research. If you're using something or eating something, I know it's good.
Yeah, like, exactly. I will not share
like,
it.
It's Mona approves.
Yeah.
You have a very high standard.
Yes.
And it's amazing because in this world, some days I'm just like, how did we get here? How do we have to, like, why does it require so much research?
So much. It's exhausting.
Just be clean or like somewhat clean. Even like the deodorant. I remember recently I posted what I thought was a clean deodorant and someone's like, no, there's like perfumes in that or natural somethings in that, which I was trying to explain to my grandpa. He makes me this delicious meal of escarole and beans. I don't know if you've ever had that.
No.
It's like an Italian dish. And I love it. And he makes it for me. And I know, like, God only knows what's in this dish.
Right,
but,
right.
like, I transmute it. I'm like, my grandfather made it. There's so much love in it. And I'm going to eat love.
I actually totally agree with that. Yeah. and that's
if I think about it, then there it goes.
Yep.
So he's reading me the label one day. And he's like, and look, there's natural flavors. I told you, it's all natural. And I'm like trying to explain to my grandfather, like, actually natural flavors are not natural. They're not good. And like the dichotomy, like it was just so funny. And I'm like, how do we get here?
Right. And you would think, I used to think that 5 years ago.
Like, oh, natural flavor is perfect.
Why wouldn't you think? At least they're not unnatural flavors. Like, great. Right. And then it's so funny when I see on candy that it's like naturally and artificially flavored. I'm like, okay, the natural ones are already bad. Like you have to even take it to the artificial. Yeah. It's just like wild.
I know.
Honestly, it's exhausting.
Is. But you do a lot of research and I love following you and I never watch YouTube. It's just like not really something I do.
Yeah, same.
But I'm guided to your YouTube because I love when you shared about transitioning out of being vegan. I was so interested in that topic and just a lot of the things you bring so much value. Thank you. I find myself like going anywhere that you're sharing and your podcast too, which I'm so happy about.
The podcast is so fun. Like I just think it's such a different outlet, right? Like
it's so good. I always say to my podcast community, I'm like, I feel so safe here.
Yeah.
Like, it's not social media. Not that I don't feel safe in social media, but here I could have like the weirdo conversations, talk about sparkles all over you that we can't see, but we can see, and just feel like really safe in this community. So podcasting, I think, is so fun too.
Every social media outlet like gives you a different feeling, right?
Definitely.
Like on my podcast, I feel like I don't have to talk about wellness. I can just talk about whatever I want because I have a co-host, and I love that. And I
right?
Love
Chloe too.
Chloe's amazing. Yes, she's amazing, and we just have such a great like friendship, so it's easy to talk.
It's beautiful.
Instagram, I feel safe because it's like my community. Yes. TikTok, I'm like, oh God, it's the wild, wild west. I don't know. Like you never know who's going to come across your video. People are, I mean, YouTube's kind of the same because I was on YouTube for a while. It's like the nastier comments would come there. But it's interesting, right? Like you can have a different energy towards each one.
It's so true. When did you start TikTok? You have a huge following on TikTok.
I started early, 2019, like the summer of 2019.
Okay.
And that was like before COVID.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. COVID was March 2020.
That's amazing time to start.
It was good. Yeah. And I got this girl, her name's Claudia. She's amazing. She was like just editing for me like freelance because I was like, I don't know what this platform is.
Yes.
And we just like went in like and really grew a lot at that time. And it was so easy to grow in the beginning. Like one video would just hit 90,000 views and you'd grow 30,000 subscribers overnight. And it's so funny even to look back because it was a little more how to, you know, and then, you know, everything shifts obviously, but
I love your behind the scenes. Like
which ones
when you have things that are just like your work life and like you working and doing things like that.
Yeah, I like those too. It's nice to have moments like that.
Yeah.
It's just more natural.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Do you have any TikTok tips? Because I meet such resistance with TikTok.
Well, at first I was doing like the TikTok best practice. And then, as you know, like I just got exhausted. Like that was before I even took my social media break. So now I'm just like, I'm going to share how I want to share. And
that's it.
That's kind of it. I mean, people love when you're like doing something and talking versus I think before it was very like, hey guys, here's 3 ways to naturally whatever. And now like they want to see you like putting on your makeup and talking about it, or like cooking and talking about it,
or not even talking about that, but talking about something
talking
else,
about
right?
anything. Yeah, just whatever you're
like
talking about.
Talking about like something random.
I'm like, good thing I don't really know how to do makeup because I can't do those. I'll do like skincare or like make a salad or something, but that's a little tip for you. Although who knows how long that will last.
I know.
All right. By the time this comes out, that might be over.
So true. And I just love like the authenticity you share. And I see that you're sharing from a place of like what feels good to you now.
It's fun. And it's just more sustainable. Yeah. It really is. Like you have to just, and you know what really got me was like, I'm like, there's people winning in every arena. Like there are people who really care about aesthetic and are winning. Yes. And there's people who do it like the meme, like get your attention, non-aesthetic way and are winning. So like just be yourself.
It's so true.
You know?
It's so true.
Right?
And I love how you merge like the spirituality, the fashion, the wellness.
Yeah. It's
Your
like all
the are like to die for.
Oh my God. Thank you.
The most beautiful feminine chic, like gorgeous.
It just gives me life. Fashion gives me life.
And you have to do that.
Right?
You have to lean into that. And you're resisting that for a little, right?
I really was, because I was like, no one wants to hear, like, see this, or like from me. They want to hear what this isn't valuable enough. But I'm like, it's also self-expression for you. Totally. I think if you can't have the creativity in your work, and also to lean into the things that really like light you up.
It's so true.
And it's just fun.
And it's felt.
It's, yeah.
And it's fun to look at.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Also, I do think on social media, even if people aren't necessarily like interacting with a post, doesn't mean they're not saving it or like using it as value.
Totally.
Because I look at a lot of like fashion influencers and I'm like, oh, they don't have many comments ever. But they have a lot of people that follow them and a lot of people that love their stuff. So it's like certain things will get more comments, but just do you and put out what you want to put out.
It's so true.
You know?
It's true. And I think with how crazy social media has gotten, that's like the only way as a content creator you can stay aligned and sane is by doing what brings you joy and like just flowing with that.
You have to.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, do you find this that like it's hard because you're a human being putting on this face, right? Not face, but like putting out this energy. And on there's 4 days in a row where I'm like, I'm just not in the mood.
I can't even look at my phone sometimes.
Right? Me too. So that's where like bulking, and I just put out a post about this where I was like, look, I know everyone wants that raw in the moment, but like we need to bulk content and have some of that curated stuff, because like some days I just can't, and I'm not going to fake it. So at least you'll have a little bit of like value in your day. Like I'm still giving you something, but I can't do it raw every day.
So true. There are days where I literally, my stomach can't take like looking at my phone. I'm like, I just can't do it. And everything to me is energy, just like I'm sure it is for you. And I'm like, I can't post this if I don't feel like this right now, or I can't get up and like touch my phone and press post. If like my energy isn't matching that, that's going to be felt because everything is energy. Like, I'm just not going to do that today.
I think about our parents probably being like, you make money by posting this one thing and you can't get yourself up to do it. And it's like, no, it's I'm like, I totally feel that. But like when you're doing it every day, it's mentally exhausting. But that's why when it's a business and it's really like what you do for a living, you bulk content and you have things ready. But
yes,
you can't be.
It's also energetic too, because although we're just pressing post, people are tapping into our fields from sharing that. We're putting a piece of us out there in some way.
So true.
And I think that's part of what we're feeling. And it's that paradigm shift with our parents. I'm being like, you can't just press post, but it's like a whole energy thing.
Totally.
Paradigm shift.
100%. And like, that's not, I mean, some of our parents' generation knows this work, but you know, now it's such common conversation.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes. And as we go deeper in these practices, it gets, you know, things become challenging in a way. Like we start to see things in the way we've never seen them before.
Yes. Agree. And like I stop myself sometimes from responding with just from this place, because to people who don't do this work are like, oh God, like what is she talking about? You know, and like oftentimes you just see things so differently.
Yes.
And you want to jump in and be like, well, actually, it's not from your higher consciousness.
Right. It's so true. And I sometimes think about that too with sharing content. Like I'm like, is anyone going to understand what I'm saying right now because of what I want to share? But it's kind of like putting it out there. If it's one person that receives the message, then that's it. And they're supposed to.
Yep. And no one, people follow you because of your voice and your energy and your essence. And sometimes like I'll write a really long caption, and sometimes I'll give it to like someone on my team, be like, does this make sense? Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll be like, I would say, and I'm like, no. Or they'll even try to correct my grammar. And I'm like, no, I like to write the way I talk. I don't want it to be imperfect grammar. That's not me, And like when I read, even like everyone has a style of writing, and I feel like I feel it from people.
Totally. I actually just brought on a team member, and my first full time.
Amazing.
Which
Congratulations.
So exciting. Thank you. And I do have to delegate, like, and have him do some things.
Mm-hmm.
But with the emails, I'm like, you need to sound like me. If I don't write it exactly, like, it has to sound like me in a sense. So we're working on like doing it together, because I want it to be like as authentic as possible.
Yes.
Because it's so true. Like, we all have our energy speaks through our words 100%. And our energy field, of course, too. But it could be very obvious when it's not from you.
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like, even if someone's writing on my team, like they're just like writing form, like, like let's say it's like, hi, I'm Joe on Mona's team. Mm-hmm. If it's a little too cold, I'm like, no, you have to be very, like, I'm a warm person, and it makes me uncomfortable when someone's like too blunt that's representing me. I think there's it's hard when it's all on your personal brand. Mm-hmm. It's like so personal, and you want to jump in all the time and be like, wait, like, it's hard to delegate.
Totally. How did you build your team?
I mean, I started out with so it's like changed throughout the years. In LA, I had my first assistant, and she started as an intern. It's all I could afford at the time. And then she wanted to come on full time, and we ended up making it work. So she was my first assistant.
Were you doing TV then?
No, I was just
in LA.
I was doing like KTLA. I'd have an appearance, or like on the Doctors, like here and there, kind of the same as now. It's like if I go to LA, like Access Hollywood, like I'm in touch with the producers, and we're like, oh, let's work on a segment we could do.
Love.
But it was mostly social media.
Okay.
And then when I moved to New York, I had to find a new assistant, because obviously I was living in New York. And then I would say like I took a little break, and then a year after that, really this last year is when I've had like a full-time editor and assistant and team, because I just realized I wasn't like, it was not going to get put out, and it ended up making me so much more productive. It took a while. I didn't have a full-time editor. I was just paying someone like hourly or like per video before. So that took me a minute. Like, do you have someone that edits your videos?
I don't.
Yeah.
I have someone that helps a little bit with social media, but this is actually what I was going to say to you, which relates to this. I feel like after 2020, the demands as content creators just like boomed, and all of a sudden the expectation and the bar was so high of like what needs to be created and how much we need to put out. And it's just a lot. It's just a lot.
It is, but like you don't have to do it.
Totally.
That's
totally.
what I got, because like that's what made me fall into the like, oh my God, I need to post 3 times a day on TikTok, and I'm like, that just doesn't feel good to me.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay. I think I do think people like stories, which again depends on your mood that day.
And that comes like most naturally to me. The
Great.
Stories, I could hang out on stories all day. And like, I don't really care that much how I look. Like,
right,
I should,
it's disappearing.
It's disappearing.
Yeah.
But like the reels, I think, and the TikTok is just, that's where I'm like, okay, I have to like set time aside for this. Because the reason, and I always go back to like, why am I doing this, and the intention, it's to reach more people, so more people could have access to meditations and positivity and whatever it is I want to share through the post. But and it brings, social media has brought me so much, which is incredible.
It really has, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Everything. I was able to leave my job as a teacher to do this full time, like only because of social media. It's wild. So I do feel that like rigor increasing and the demand increasing.
I think it's nice to appreciate it too, because we like to put it down so much.
Yes.
Like so much has been brought to me, so much opportunity, so many cool things I've gotten to experience, people I've gotten to meet.
Yeah. I would never be here with you.
No,
like,
exactly.
How would I ever know you?
No, exactly.
I know. It's so true.
Yeah.
So earlier you brought up that you went to a silent retreat.
Yes.
7 days?
10 days.
10.
Yes.
Wow.
It was intense.
And you're just not speaking?
You're not speaking. So you're not speaking the whole time. There is like an hour a day where they do like office hours almost, where you can ask, because there's like 2 people leading it, one for men, one for women. So you can ask your teacher questions. So you are able to talk to her.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, which was helpful. I think for me it was just a really like the no speaking was okay. I think it just felt very rigorous, and there was so many other aspects of it that just made it hard for me. Sleeping alone in like a building that didn't have locks on the doors in like the middle of nowhere, like really, like I've had a big fear of like being taken, which I've actually worked through in like meditation. Who knows if it's from like a past life or something. But yeah, so I was sleeping completely alone on a first floor with like, you know, right by the window, and the whole building didn't have locks. So I think I was so scared to go to sleep every night. And then I also like did not take into account, I'm like, okay, 10 days, not talking to your significant other for 10 full days, and like, and being isolated like that. I like hysterically cried the first 3 nights. And I was like, maybe I should go home, but like stuck through it. I think like if I did it in a different setting, another time, like I think there's other factors that maybe I could have gotten. I don't think it allowed me to get out of it what I could have gotten out of it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a lot.
It was a lot.
I have like all the people I love on, like I could track everybody like if my family and see where they are and know that they're safe at any moment. And to like not have that connection, not just have a check-in with people that you're closest to, that's a lot.
And there's no TV, no radio, no like nothing. So like you're just laying in bed, and also like it's free. So that's so nice. It's like a donation to the world. There's a big wait list. You go on. So you can't complain about the room size, but you kind of feel like you're in jail. You're on this like little tiny little bed that feels like, I don't know. It was like a cold, not like cozy environment. So I didn't feel like safe, I guess.
Yeah. What guided you to go on that? Were you like seeking something or wanted to get something out of it?
Yeah, I was like, you know, all this gut health stuff. And I was like I'm always like, okay, I'm doing all the physical. Maybe it's something emotional. Okay. And then actually my dad's wife has done it, and she did it like 10 years ago, and it totally changed her life. Wow. And she told me about it, and I was like, and I tend to be like, oh, that's going to be the thing. Let me do it. And so I was excited to do it, and we talked about it after, and she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like her and her friend both went together in different rooms, obviously didn't talk, but I wonder if like having someone there with you and like
totally
so many different reasons, you know?
Yeah.
So definitely. It was like a good few weeks after that, I was like, oh my God, like I felt so dysregulated, like, but luckily it was okay after that.
Is there anything profound that you feel like you walked away with?
Not necessarily. I mean, I will say actually, so you're sitting and meditating, and it's kind of like a body scan meditation, and I would close my eyes. This is like starting day. Takes 3 days to even get to the meditation. Like they're kind of prepping you for that. You're doing different types. And finally, when we started doing it, they talk about all these, like they call them sankharas, I believe. It's like, I might be pronouncing that wrong. It's basically emotional pain you're holding on to in your body. They're like, oh, they're going to come out. You might feel different things. I got this like migraine, like it started in the bottom of my neck, this piercing pain that would go like up to my head. I've never felt anything like this before. And every time I would open my eyes, it would go away. But when I closed my eyes, within 10 minutes, here would come this pain. Like, and I remember them saying, if anything hurts, try to, because the whole point is you're trying to not wish anything away or desire anything. You're just supposed to be good, you know? And so it was like, if you feel some pain, like don't want it to go away, just sit with it. So I'm sitting with it, like literally my eyes would water. It hurt so bad. And it would happen pretty much every day. So I was also dealing with this like crazy migraine, but I'm like, okay, obviously something's happening. Because when I'm going in deep, there's something coming out. But that's kind of the extent of it. I don't really know. Sometimes you can't really quantify anything. But
this reminds me, Joe Dispenza actually told us a story where he went on I think it was a silent retreat.
He went on the same one as me. Well, I remember he shared where he would like scream and like have this explosion. Yes.
Like, you're not supposed to scream.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. There's stored energy in our body, and it has to come out some way.
And I had heard him. It's funny. I went like 2 months after he said that, and I had heard him say he went, and I was like, oh, this is my sign to go, because I was thinking about going.
Yeah. So now that you've been on like a few retreats, what would you say you've gotten the most out of the Joe Dispenza one?
Yes, I've really only been on his and then the 10-day silent. And I think coming out of his was such an amazing experience. I was like, oh, I can do anything. Because if you would have asked me to meditate 10 days in a row, I felt like I was so good at it at that point. But it was such a different experience, because his is like you're learning and meditating, and it's invigorating, and I love learning. I get excited.
I'm such a nerd. I
love
it.
And the other one is just like and no one gives you instructions. You just kind of like go into it and you sit there, and it felt just like a little like scary and uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like I walked away from Joe's just feeling like everything that I know is true is actually now being proven true.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we're part of this really transitional time on Earth where there's going to be so many more findings. This is just the beginning. They actually share how your gut biome completely changes over the 7 days, which is wild.
Yeah.
And I actually would have so many gut issues. I mean, I still do get bloated. I know that you've spoken about this, being vegan. I'm mostly plant-based. I just started incorporating eggs, but I'm just more guided to vegetables right now in my life. But I get very bloated. But before meditating, my gut was like all over the place, and I really have experienced that. And when he's saying that and there's findings now, I'm like, I knew it. I knew this had something to do with it. But if you tell someone that, they're like, really?
Yeah.
Your meditation practice helps with that too? I'm like, yes, of course.
Oh yeah, I've heard people say like their acne got better, and I was like, okay. But I mean, so much starts in the mind. All of our like chemicals, like our chemistry is released from the brain. Like the brain is the signal that tells us what to release.
Mm-hmm.
So it just almost makes you realize like, okay, what is signaling the brain then? These are all of your thoughts and emotions. Yeah. Right?
And that's a pharmacy that we can tap into.
Yeah. I know. I love when he says that.
It's wild. And the studies that are coming out is incredible. Just how like the pain management that we could actually take upon ourselves and activate within ourselves.
I've actually used him before, like when I've gotten like, let's say I had to get an IV, like I hate getting needles or anything, or if I've gotten like a laser on my face, I've been like, stop, and I'm like, this doesn't hurt, this is just a sensation. And I swear to God it works. If I can really get my mind there, it works.
When I got COVID for the first time, I have Gaia. Do you have Gaia?
I don't have it, but I know what Gaia is. But
I played one of Dr. Joe's videos on there, and I was like, I think it was the one you are the placebo.
Yeah.
And I think he talks about fevers in that one, but I've read a lot about fevers and how they're really to heal and self-heal. And I was like embracing this fever. My husband's like, you need to take Motrin or Tylenol. And I'm like, no, this fever's here to heal me. It's here to give me an upgrade. And he's like, Erica. And I would just like listen to Joe and do it, and you feel it.
Yeah, you do.
It's
you
uncomfortable,
really do.
but once you can put your energy behind it, the pain lessens and you're able to transmute it into strength.
Right, because your body's having a reaction for, and obviously there's levels to it, but it's like maybe just let your body be for a minute. Totally. I think about that a lot.
Totally. Yeah. So you have your podcast now. Yeah. I absolutely love tuning into it. Anything else on the horizon that you want to share? Anything coming up?
I'm working on a project that I'll share a little bit more about maybe in the fall. But really I'm just podcast, social media, Instagram and TikTok, and that's my focus.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for all that you share and all that you do.
Thank you. Same with you. I mean, the work you do. You're sharing on your own app as well as Melissa, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's been such an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Connecting with Melissa as well. And it's introduced me to so many people. I actually had someone here earlier who found me through there. She's a member of Evolve as well.
Oh, amazing.
And we're just connecting over it, but it's been such a great experience. So I share in both places. Yeah.
Do you find that you take private clients just as much, or are you doing mostly?
So that's definitely something I am transitioning through, because it's become a lot.
Yeah.
So I gratefully right now have a wait list, which is so exciting.
I
just
can imagine.
Professionally it's exciting, and how like so many people are interested, but I'm working on ways to continue to work with more people, possibly doing a program or a training or something along those
training
lines.
People under you.
Yeah,
that makes so much sense.
Not necessarily under me, but like just teaching them what I love and what I've learned through this process and all the things that I've learned, and then they could share it in any way that they wish to.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
right.
So hopefully that will come in the future.
Yeah,
that's
great. When you do, like, do you have people have not crazy, but like experiences during your breath work? Do people cry or scream?
Sometimes people will cry from the moment we get on, just because they're finally having space held for them. They're finally there to be honest with themselves, and they feel supported. And I feel bad because sometimes I should give people that warning, because they'll be like, oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm crying right now. I'm like, you don't need to. It's totally fine. It's normal.
That happened the first time me and you did. It was on Zoom, but like instant tears. And I never really understood it. And that makes sense.
Yeah. And sometimes it's you showing up for yourself, just ready to clear something. A lot of the time we already know what we want to move through and how to work through it. And we just need to bring ourselves to that space, have the space held for us in that way, and then work through it. And other times we could show up thinking everything's great and then be like, oh my God, what is coming up for me?
Yeah.
So yeah, crying is definitely typical. The screaming was a little different for me.
Yeah.
But after Joe Dispenza, it was very, very typical.
I was not expecting that. And I was like, oh my God, I remember even my editor had it on video. I was like, delete that. I don't ever want, like, that's so personal. You know what I mean? Because initially we were going to like have it on video to maybe share something. But I was like, no, I don't want. Yeah.
But it makes sense. We have things stored and we have to release them in some way. And shaking, screaming, releasing through breath, those are all ways that we can do it.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. Is there any like last words that you'd want to leave with the listeners?
Any last words I'd want to leave? No, I think just to live in your truth. You know, it's what's going to make you the happiest. And I feel like it's the only thing that's sustainable. You can pretend to be something else or pretend to be happy, but like something's going to be itching inside of you. And it's just speak your truth, live your truth. And I think that's the way to find real happiness.
You're such a beautiful, beautiful example of that.
Thank you.
I see that like through your podcast as well, and how I love when you and Chloe are talking about different things and how you have different opinions on things, and you are so confident in where you are.
Yeah.
And I love it.
And it's nice. You can be different from your close friends. It's okay.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation as much as I have. I can talk to Mona literally for hours. She is such a sweet, pure soul, as I said to her in the episode. And if you've ever met her, you know this about her. If you don't follow her already, I highly recommend you do at Mona Vand. And she's on TikTok, she's on Instagram, she's on YouTube. She is like a content powerhouse. So check her out. So knowledgeable. And I want to thank you guys so much for being here and coming back every week to enjoy these high vibrational conversations. Thank you so much. May the long time sun shine upon you. Satnam.